Ime Udoka is an absolute savage, and if I wanted to play for any coach in the NBA right now, it would be Ime Udoka. Not only does Ime Udoka make himself an absolute legend in his departure with Boston, and a lot of people were bagging him for the controversy. Oh, how could you tear through the entire city of Boston and become a household name in every single woman who's a Celtics fan's bedroom? How could you be putting in that work every single week and find time to bring your team to the NBA Finals and install that defensive mentality in the Boston Celtics and then fuck one of the owner's wives? How could you find time to do that? Well, he gets fired from the Celtics. We're like, oh my God, this guy's an absolute legend. Not only does he do that, he goes to Houston and he's like, hey, LeBron, stop bitching. And LeBron's like, excuse me? And he's like, yeah, you're bitching at every single call. What are you doing? And stop walking over here, soft ass man, like you're going to do something. And Ime Udoka was squaring up to him. And a lot of people are like, oh, how could Ime say this to a player? He's not even playing in the game. I'm like, I don't know, because it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And also, like, who cares?
Who cares?
Why? Since when did the NBA become so soft at this point where someone like Ime Udoka, who's firing up his team, who has a bunch of instigators like a Dylan Brooks on that team, calls somebody a bitch? It's not like he called him a racial slur. It's not like he called him an anti-Semitic comment. No, he called him a bitch, which LeBron's been called a bitch many times. Whether it was a Twitter fan, a media player, whoever it is, he's been called a bitch before because he can be a bitch sometimes. Sorry, LeBron. It's not going to be the end of the world. And I think it's funny. I think it revved up his team, and I think it people got to relax. It's not that deep. It's really not that complicated. And I think it revved up the Rockets at the end of the day.
Also, why are we ejecting players? Why are we ejecting a coach for this? You told a player to stop bitching? Well, was LeBron bitching at every single call, asking for a foul? Yes. Okay. Was Ime Udoka saying anything wrong? It's like, okay, why are we ejecting players? Like, let them jaw back and forth. This is a part of basketball and should be a part of the game.
Why do we watch the NBA? What is it at the end of the day? It's entertainment, right? It's entertainment. And now the NBA is essentially a reality TV show. We can all agree with, oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to play for this guy. Oh, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to play with the Clippers, James Harden. It's an entertainment business. And it's a real estate. It's a real reality TV show. And if this week's episode of the NBA, we hear, oh my God, Ime Udoka called LeBron James a bitch. It's like, that's entertainment and people eat it up. And that's why we're talking about it on the show today, because it's funny. And that's what it is. The NBA right now, we're talking about the in-season tournament, which nobody cares about. The Pelicans are probably going to win it. This is more exciting to me than talking about the in-season tournament where it's going to be Knicks and Pelicans at the end of it.
Yeah, it's going to be Knicks and Pelicans at the end of it. But it's like, if you didn't fall out of your chair laughing at this, it's like, how is the NBA this soft where we're ejecting players and coaches for just simple swearing at each other? Like, I'm sure players drop much more demeaning words on the court than that. The fact that it's a coach, it's like, yeah, it's funny. If you didn't fall out of your chair laughing and you're like, yeah, this is great entertainment, you're like, oh no, Greg Popovich has to condemn the Spurs because they're booing Kawhi Leonard, and that's just not what this
demanded to leave that organization
and quiet quit on them. If the fans can't boo him and Greg Popovich is like, you can't boo him, like, how soft are you becoming as a league here? And I'm not one of these people that's, oh, the NBA is soft, and I grew up in the 90s when you could clothesline a guy and pop him in the face and then not get ejected. It's like, I'm not one of those people, but at the same time, if we're like, yeah, you can't call LeBron out on his bullshit here. You can't call him a